Hey everybody, this is Freedom is the Right, and I'm coming to you with a brand new video review. Today we're going to be taking a look at War for Cybertron Kingdom Deluxe Class Cheetor. Now, this guy he's alright. I don't mind him. He's fun to play around with. He does feel kind of weak compared to the others, and we will get into that more as we go along the review. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. So here we are, and we can take a look at Cheetor's Beast mode, transformed up into his Cheetah mode. And coming in here for the face, this is pretty nicely done. It's nicely painted. We got some nice spots, some texturing for the fur. The mouth is on a joint, and you can see there are teeth inside. It's painted all up in here. Coming along here, we can see we have the paws, which are nicely done. The tail, we do have the feet kind of just hanging out back here, which is a little unsightly. And coming to the top, you can see nice paint and spots all throughout. Coming to the underside, you can see he transforms up pretty nicely, honestly. You can kind of see the hands hanging out here, but other than that, the tail is done. There's no hinges on the tail or anything, but it's painted really nicely. And honestly, I think the Cheetah mode is kind of where this guy shines for me. He looks really nice. And as far as articulation, you can rotate this part. It does hinge in and out. There's a little bit of bend here for his arms. The paws are on a ball joint. And for the back here, you can hinge these back and forth. There's a hinge here. And the paws down here are also on a ball joint. So he's got a little bit of posability in his beast mode, which is cool to see. And yeah, that pretty much covers it for his alternate mode. So we can go ahead and get into transformation. So coming in, the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go ahead and detach his tail, which just comes off like that. There's a port and a circular tab, and we can set that off to the side. So now coming in here to the legs, we can straighten these out, and what we're going to want to do is hinge these and pull the feet forward and push this all the way up, and now the feet just kind of swing out like that. And we can go ahead and repeat the same process on the other side, and the feet will pop out. And there we have the feet all done. So the next part we're going to come to is we're going to go ahead and just crack open the chest to reveal what's inside. We can go ahead and take the cheetah head, and we're going to open the jaw all the way up. And now opening here, and there was a peg here, but unfortunately it did snap off. I mean, fortunately it's not super major to either the robot or the Cheetah mode, because the head still stays in its place really nicely, even though it doesn't have that tab there. So not a big deal, but yeah. So we're going to go ahead and hinge this down and plug that head on, just like that. And I will say it's kind of nice to see that the actual Cheetah head was used for the chest, because I know with the Masterpiece version, it was a faux chest, so it's kind of cool to see they were able to engineer the actual head to become his chest here. So now we can go ahead and come to the arms. We're going to lift them up and get them out of the way, and we're going to come to these side panels and just bring them in like so to make his waist. And now we can turn back to the arms, just kind of rotate at the bicep here, and then rotate the hands. So we have the hands like that. And again, rotate the bicep, rotate his hands like that. And now we can go ahead and we can take the head, and we're going to rotate it to face forward. And now we can just come to the back and the cheetah legs. You can just kind of cross them like so. and just kind of arrange them how you want on his back. And there we have Cheetor transformed up into his robot mode. And he looks all right to me. The blue paint is a little off. Obviously, the darker, more metallic blue would have been more screen accurate, like we got for the Netflix version of this figure. The only unfortunate thing for the next Netflix version is that even though it has the more accurate paint scheme with the blue, they did not paint the shins on that figure. So for me, it wasn't really worth buying without the shins painted, even though it had the accurate blue. And coming in here, we can take a look at his face sculpt. It's fairly nicely done. For the head, there's a nice little maximal symbol done there. And there's some sculpting along there, some nice orange paint for the eyes. There's sculpting all throughout. Coming down here, of course, you can see the cheetah head. There's some blue paint around here for the crotch. And this is another section that's kind of weird. This piece has a hinge, but it doesn't really serve any purpose because you can still kick out the legs without that piece moving. So I'm not really sure what that hinge was put there for. Coming down to the legs, you can see the nice blue paint also down here. The shins, they do stick out really far. I wish it could have been engineered to collapse up inside of here a little more, because it does look a little odd to have the knees stick out so far like that. And turning to the back, it's a pretty clean transformation. He does transform up really nicely. And overall, he just doesn't feel quite to the level of accuracy as the others. Something just feels a little off about the sculpt and whatnot. He's definitely not a bad figure by any means, but when compared next to the other Beast Wars figures in this line, he's just, I think, the weakest of them. And taking a look here at articulation, the head is on a ball joint, but you can't really shift side to side with it. It's really stiff. You can rotate it the full 360, but you gotta kind of maneuver it like that. He can look up pretty far. He can't really look down at all. These do hinge, the shoulders hinge, but they can't go the full 360 because of this piece here. We do have bicep rotation, and there is a little over 90-degree bend at the arm. The wrist does rotate as well, which is nice. He does have waist rotation. He can kick out this far, and he can't really kick back because this section here gets in the way. He can kick out though, about that far. And he does have a thigh swivel, and he can bend his leg. He can't quite get to 90 degrees. And coming down here for the toe, they can hinge backwards and forwards due to transformation. And we have a really nice ankle tilt there. Now coming in with the kind of other disappointing part about this figure, here we have his tail, which is detached, and it's supposed to be his weapon. So it's just supposed to be like a scythe or something. It has some nice blue paint and whatnot. It's a nicely sculpted piece, but honestly, we all really just wanted to see him with his gut gun. And the engineering on this doesn't really leave room to store the gut gun very well, so I kind of understand why they left it out, but it would have been nice to see him with a blaster or something instead of just this. This just seems like a really lazy weapon to give him. But we can go ahead and port this into his hand. And there he has his weapon. And that pretty much covers it for the robot mode. So coming in here for some comparisons, we can put him next to Voyager class Optimus Primal. See how these guys look together. They scale pretty well, I think. And next we're going to bring in War for Cybertron Kingdom Deluxe Class Huffer. See how these guys look next to each other. And next up we are going to bring in War for Cybertron Kingdom Deluxe Class Black Arachnia. And see how these two look together. And lastly, we are going to bring in War for Cybertron Kingdom Core Class Rat Trap. See how these guys are looking together. And yeah, that pretty much covers it for Kingdom Cheetor. Yeah, this guy, he's not a bad figure. He's not as great as the others when compared to the other Beast Formers from this line. And he just doesn't feel as strong. He's just a little weak. The paint apps are a little off. The shins are a little off. The proportions for the head sculpt even feel a little bit weird. I'm not sure what the deal is with that. But overall, I think I would still give him like an 8 out of 10. So let me know down below in the comments if you agree, if you don't. And until next time, I will see you all later.